So let's get into it. Why are you being asked not to judge? How did this become such a dirty word? Let's look at the definitions. I found several online alone. The ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. That's one definition. An opinion or conclusion. In quotes, they make subjective judgments about the children's skills, unquote. End quote. A decision or court or judge. The Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the blah, blah, blah Court of Appeal. A misfortune or calamity viewed as a divine punishment. The crash had been a judgment on the parents for wickedness. Here's another one. Judgment is the mental ability to understand something, form an opinion, and reach a decision. You have great judgment of character, which is why your friends ask you to meet their significant others when things get serious. A decision is a judgment unless you let a coin toss decide for you. And here's yet another definition from Merriam-Webster. The act or process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing. Careful judgment of the odds. It's too soon to pass judgment on the effectiveness of the new program. An opinion or decision that is based on careful thought. The capacity for judging to be guided by your own judgment or showing poor judgment. A situation requiring careful judgment. Okay, so let's look at discernment. Insight and judgment, recognizing underlying motives, character, or subtle cues that others miss, allowing for accurate assessment. Cutting through confusion or deception to see things as they truly are, rather than in black and white terms. In religious terms and contexts, it's the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, or God's will and worldly influence, often through prayer and scripture. Applying knowledge and understanding to make sound choices, distinguishing between superficial and essential factors. Having discernment means possessing the ability to judge well, understand what is not obvious, and make wise decisions by seeing beyond surface appearances, to grasp finer details, motives, and spiritual truths, effectively distinguishing between good and bad, or better and best. Insight and judgment, recognizing underlying motives, character, or subtle cues that others miss, allowing for an accurate assessment. So why are you being asked not to judge? From what I've gathered here and the assessment I've made based on the descriptions of judgment and discerning, they're connected, very much so. So is judgment really a sin? Is it really a dirty word? Last time I looked, when a person actually knows what they're dealing with, they're empowered. When a person can actually say, that doesn't sound right to me. It sounds kind of bad or evil, or sounds kind of good or fantastic or better. That they're empowered when they know this. They're empowered by the clarity of the knowledge. So who really benefits by judgment being a sin or a dirty word? I would assess personally that anyone who wants you to feel disempowered somehow or not have clarity somehow benefits by this. And how about those who are constantly undermining the do unto others? I have personally experienced that the people who are most likely to say, I don't judge, or don't judge, or you're judging, are the people who are actually doing a lot of things that are not so nice. So we ask the question again, why are you being asked not to judge? And who is it serving? A great question to think about, meditate on, pray on. You deserve clarity. Everyone does. You deserve to base your assessments on your experience and what you genuinely see from people and from your environment. It is your right to know what to base your decisions on. In order to know what you base your decisions on, you must have judgment and discernment, and they are connected. Judgment is a beautiful thing, a healthy and wholesome thing. Let's go over some of these points again, found online. Process, moral and spiritual depth, clarity, wisdom, insight, and judgment, seeing beyond surface appearances, the ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions, the mental ability to understand something, form an opinion, and reach a decision, an opinion or decision that is based on careful thought, the act or process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing. Ooh, and here's an interesting one, a formal utterance of an authoritative opinion. So when someone is in an authoritative space in their opinion, are they not claiming a truth? Isn't claiming a truth empowering? Isn't claiming a truth based on evaluation and discernment empowering? Isn't claiming a truth based on careful thought empowering? Isn't the mental ability to understand something and form an opinion and reach a decision empowering? Isn't making a sensible conclusion empowering? Isn't applying knowledge and understanding to make sound choices, distinguishing between superficial and essential factors empowering? Isn't recognizing underlying motives, character, or subtle cues that others miss, allowing for accurate assessments empowering? Isn't a realization, a thoughtful process of observing, reflecting, discussing, and waiting to allow for clarity empowering? Isn't the possession of the ability to judge well, understand what is not obvious, make wise decisions and choices by seeing beyond surface appearances to grasp finer details, motives, or spiritual truths, effectively distinguishing between good and bad or better and best, empowering? I think it speaks for itself. Well, it's your call and it's your judgment to make on if that makes sense to you or not. My purest intention in this post is to give people the option and chance to choose to reclaim the word for what it really means and the experience for what it really means. The experience of judgment is a whole bunch of factors and facts lining up to make an assessment based on observation and experience. It's a sacred arrival of sorts. It really supports us in not having to repeat things that can be painful. Based on the descriptions of judgment and how discernment and judgment are connected, we genuinely can move forward and evolve based on making judgments. We can walk away from unsavory people and experiences. We can learn. We can apply tough love to ourselves. We can own a decision-making process that allows us to move forward. We can feel justified in an action we've taken to help us move forward and allow us to be in healthy relationships and circumstances. We can decide. We can experience from a distance or up close based on the decisions we make. When decisions are based on judgments that are coming from clarity and a bigger picture of having experienced, overviewed, observed, that is real empowerment. So let's ask again, why is it that we're being asked not to judge? Personally, I celebrate judgment and discernment and how they're connected. I celebrate that I've been given faculties in which to base decisions upon for my well-being. I choose to be realistic and honor that in this very real world there is good and evil. There are bad people who want to manipulate and harm, and there are some very good people who are truly there to uplift humanity. Without judgment, we can't make those decisions. Without judgment, we can't know. Without judgments, we can't actually observe and make an assessment of what is healthy and good and evil and not so good for us, and what is better for us. So today, I celebrate judgment. I reclaim the meaning of judgment. I honor that I've been given this sacred thing to be able to judge and discern. I honor in grace and gratitude the gift of being able to make a judgment and discern. I give pure value to judgment. I see the integrity in judgment. I claim my right to judge, so it is.